By any chance, I know some of you probably seen the tweet last week because it circulated pretty far. But for those of you who didn't, did you guys know that like Yami's sword, like the hilt, is actually custom designed? Like when I seen that last week, I was super shocked. Like that no one had noticed this before. This person, Ashen Aura, found that out. Blew my mind. It's making me inspect every panel that much closer to try to find some kind of crazy like detail that I may have missed. Give them a follow. That was a really good find. But anyway, Black Clover chapter 258. So this chapter is kind of basically how do I want to put this? It's more or less like how I said last week, where like if it doesn't wrap up like right now, we're gonna get this fight with Yami and Asta, and then a next chapter will probably be like the finishing up of their fight or more of that, and then the third chapter after that will be probably the conclusion of this if I had to like guess or assume. Which I mean, it's good and bad at the same time, just because like like I was saying last week, pacing does feel a little bit slow or a little bit off, or just I don't know, a little meh. But as for what is going on, really good stuff is going on. So like the chapter starts with like Yami and Asta side by side, staring down like Dante in his like big buff 80% form, and basically just like Yami saying to him like Asta, yeah, I need you like right, but like Asta, I need you to like follow right behind me, and Asta's like yeah, and then they like charge off after him, and like from this point, um, I'm assuming Yami's plan is to like inflict direct damage on Dante to like injure him and I guess for that moment weaken him so that Asta can come through after that and land like a more decisive blow. It's almost like I almost feel like in Yami's mind he may or may not be trying to mirror the strategy that they used against Zagrid. That's kind of what I think. Or it could just be Yami's like follow me because if you go first you're going to get clapped, because throughout this entire time that they were fighting together, Asta would have died like 3 times. Like anytime Dante made a motion towards Asta, he basically almost could have died if it wasn't for Yami saving him. But anyway, there was one panel right here, like in the middle of their exchange of fighting, where like Dante does that weird like gravity warp thing and he appears somewhere else. This panel really confused me because I wasn't for sure exactly what was going on. It looked like how I just said, like maybe he did some type of gravity warp to appear somewhere else. Let me know if you guys think something different happened or if I was just like seeing that wrong, but I was confused for a second when I said, I'm like, what is really happening? Like, what is Dante doing there? But aside from that, the fight was basically going exactly how I just said. It was like Yami would do an attack and Asta would try to follow up, but then Dante's counterattack would almost kill Asta, so Yami would have to more or less like kick him out the way or save him or something along those lines. And then even outside of that, Yami still has his black moon up. Like you can see in some panels, you can see like a little black circle above like both, or not both of them, but above Yami. And Asta's relatively close to him, so it's reasonable to assume that Yami doesn't have it condensed down in this moment, that he has it out like in a more like in like a broader sense to to include Asta in it. Because you notice during this entire fight or during the entire tag team fight, Yami doesn't do death thrust like not one time. Because even though it is really effective and it would like set Dante up to get hit, I believe that to me it seems like he needs to have his monozone condensed down or condensing down the Black Moon to even do it. It would disinclude Asta from its protection, so Asta would get crushed just by the passive gravity that's in the area. That's another thing that like is still crazy to me with this fight, is that just from us seeing that Black Moon is still there, we can assume, like, we're not even assume, we know that the passive gravity is still there. Like that, just the immediate area that they're fighting in alone is super dangerous. Like Dante's easily one of like the more dangerous people that they've ever fought against. Like I'm really not seeing how like either one of the Dark Triad members could be stronger than Dante, like Xenon or Vonica. But after like more towards like the I guess ending of the chapters fight, we get Asta even noting that I'm able to fight, but it's only because of Captain Yami. So it's like Asta himself is very well aware that he is, I mean, he's not holding Yami back, but it's like he would have died. Like Asta knows he really doesn't have much of a place in this fight if it wasn't for Yami. And even notes that all over the course of his 6 months of training, like none of that stuff even works on this guy. It's just like Dante, it's just like the story just reinforcing that Dante is in another league. And this entire time, Dante's enjoying all of this. He's just like, everything you guys do is for my pleasure, because I know I can't die, and I can kill you guys whenever. It's just a matter of like time. Dante is loving this. So like Asta then like looks within himself and is like, I'm going to have to use the power that I don't really understand. So he ends up just saying, hey devil, I know you're watching. And it's just like, this is cool from like a story perspective, because like, okay, cool, we're getting some development with Asta and his anti-magic devil. But at the same time, for me, it was just like, oh wow, so at any given time you could just think to yourself, hey, I know you can see this. Like, it just that part, minor annoyance to me. It wasn't bad, but it's just minor annoyance. It's like, what, you can just talk to him whenever you want? Okay. But moving on from this, Asta is basically asking him to lend him his power. He recalls just probably a couple minutes ago when they were in that enraged or berserk form. Asta was like, yeah, I feel that you were angry, you want to beat this guy too, we should work together. And this was like another thing that I liked, because when they went into that berserk form, when the anti-magic devil was all like hatred, anger, I'll kill you, this and that, I was confused as to why he was doing that. Like, because he hasn't, I mean, granted, we never really get to see him like that anyway, but like to see him in such like an angry state, I was wondering, like, was he just anger and rage and negativity incarnate? Just like, was he just like that, or was it directly in response to Dante and what Dante was doing to Asta? Because Asta has been in lots of near-death scenarios in the past. We never seen the anti-magic devil react like that, so I was confused as to know why he was upset. But I'm assuming from their exchange right here, it had to be related to Dante, or at least related to Luciforo. So from there, he basically says like, all right, cool, I will share the true power of a devil with you. And at first, when I was first reading, I was like, wow, he just agreed to that like really easy. He was like, yeah, I'll help you out, no problem. And I guess in my thinking, when I think about it, this is probably to meet his own ends at the same time, like helping Asta benefits him in the sense of he can probably like wiggle his way in and get more control over Asta, as well as possibly defeat Lucifero or Dante, which it seems he has some type of connection or, you know, hatred towards. He also says that he can't do things as it is now. And he clarifies, I need like a part of your body, which makes me wonder, like, okay, for all of the possessions, like for Dante, Bonica, and Xenon, were all of their possessions similar? Like, have they all sacrificed a part of themselves for extra power, in a sense? And another thing that this makes me realize is that we already know that the Dark Triad can go up to 80% of their power, of their devil's power. And they can't go the full 100 is because that the door to the other world is closed. It's been stated a bunch of times, even through like loosely through the grid, if you go back and like listen to what he's saying, and even from Dante a couple chapters ago, that devils cannot release their full power in this world for whatever reason. So I'm assuming that them getting a part of their body helps them getting a part of their host body, gives them more of like a foothold in this world. So like it'll, in my mind, allow them to transfer more of their power in this world. That kind of makes sense to me, kind of a theory, but almost really, you know, to me, that's what makes the most sense. If you guys think something different, let me know, but that's what's going on. So from there, Asta's like, bet, you know, I want to become the Wizard King, but before that, I got to be able to live up to Yami's expectations, which really shows a lot into Asta's character, because he's not really opposed to like taking whatever means necessary for the people he cares about or for his goal. Which, I mean, we've seen this a bunch of times in shonen. You know, like Luffy, like, oh, if I can't do this, I can't become Pirate King. Or Naruto, if I can't do this, I can't become Hokage. Or you could really just do insert whatever MC here and go, and if I can't do this, I can't become that. So, I mean, it's not, you know, it is a thing, but it was nice to see that development from Asta. And then from there, Dante is shooting one of his, like, larger singularities at them, and Asta's able to just swipe through it, and we see like his arm is like all like different. It looks like almost like charred. I got huge Narrow vibes from Devil May Cry. That's like immediately what it reminded me of. I don't know how many of you played the older ones. Kind of in the newer one, he has like a robotic arm, but in the old ones, he had like a demon arm. So it was more akin to this. But yeah, so like he has the demon arm, and his sword was pitch black. Because earlier in the fight, it just had like a little bit of the anti-magic energy on it, but it wasn't like how it normally is, where it's fully like black. But now it's like completely black. So this is like, in my mind, almost symbolizing like, okay, it's like a definitely more powerful transformation than it was before. With that being said, what we can gather from this is that up until now, obviously Asta's been using anti-magic. I mean, there's no question about that. But we can assume that he wasn't using it to its fullest power, which makes sense because there has been times in the past where Asta swords have come into contact with magic and it didn't just dispel it. Like case in point, one of the more recent times is during his fight with Dark Elf Patri. Patri was able to clash swords with him, even like Patri was able to clash swords with him, Asta's sword being anti-magic and Patri's sword being magic. So it's like there are times when Asta clashes with magic and the magic doesn't just dispel. So we can definitely from that assume that there are like levels to this. There are levels to the amount of anti-magic something, because for the most part his anti-magic swords just clap magic. Like it's just like it touches it, it's gone. Like with Mars, touch it, like when Asta slashed through Mars's when using that big golem form, it was like clean cuts. Or when he like just burst it through the salamander, like when he bullhorn through it, it's just gone. Like so for the most part, whatever his sword touches does magic, it's just gone. So like but there are like those instances where that isn't the case, and I would be assuming that Dante's Singularity would have been one of those cases. Like before this, if Asta had attempted to cut that, he probably would have just died, like flat out. It wouldn't have been able to stop all of it. So now he can. So that's what this means for the future of Asta's power. Not really quite for sure. I'm assuming that after this, they might be able, him and Yami might have a better strategy or a better way to get at Dante. And then from there, they might be able to land like some actual damage, like actually give him some suitable damage. But I kind of have a feeling how this is gonna go. Like they're probably, like I said, gonna do some actual damage, but Asta's not used to this power. This is brand new to him, so he's gonna experience some type of pain or some type of immediate drawback or something along the lines where he can't handle it all right now, and then he's gonna be out of the fight in some way or sense. And then Yami is either gonna get super injured or just flat out just captured off of it. And then Dante having Yami will go away, and then Asta will fall in line with Noel and Yuno with having something important taken from them or taking a very tough loss and then having to watch them leave and being powerless to do about it. Because that's clearly the reoccurring theme here. We've seen it with Yuno, lost to Z9, left there, had to just deal with it. Noel lost to Vonica, had to watch Laurel Petrica just take off. So, I mean, it happened twice in a very similar fashion. It's going to happen again. Like, we all know it. So that's more than likely what is going to happen. I know a lot of people have we're referring back to the theory that Asta is going to die, just like in Julius's predictions. I wouldn't honestly be too surprised if he did die, but somehow come back, just to keep Julius's predictions true. Just because it's like he could die now and come back, or he could die like in their actual fight and come back. I'm not really too opposed to the theory as long as it's done well, but that's what I think is going to happen next week, is basically what I just said. They're going to be able to fight better against Dante now, maybe do some lasting damage, and then the chapter after that, Dante's going to like take advantage of like some type of flaw or weakness that Asta is going to have and possibly capture Yami in that one. And then that third chapter after that is probably going to be when Asta's in like that similar moment of despair, like and Noel. So I'm giving it probably like 3 chapters out is when this will wrap up, in my opinion. I could be wrong. Let me know what you guys think, how fast you guys think this is going to wrap up, or what you guys think is going to happen next. Do you think Asta's going to die in this very next chapter or in the upcoming ones? Or do you think they're going to beat Dante right here? Do you think that like with his newfound power and him and Yami teaming up, that they're going to be able to just flat out defeat him? definitely curious to see kind of where you guys fall on that one. But yeah, like and sub to the video if you guys enjoyed this. Really appreciate all of that. And yeah, I'll just catch you guys later. Oh, wait, before I go, there's not going to be a chapter for next week. Just the Shonen Jump magazine is on break. So, I mean, when we chapterless for a week, I'm definitely going to put out some videos for you guys this week. I have a cool series that I'm about to start that you guys will enjoy, as well as just some other like discussions and theories that'll get us through the week and through Sunday. So with that being said, I will catch you guys next time.